All right, fellas, let's move on to some guys that don't have homes yet, starting with two big name quarterbacks. Cam Newton's camp has been exploring trade options for the 30-year-old former MVP. So far, not much has materialized, and the Panthers could release Newton soon, avoiding his $21 million cap hit this year. Another guy to looking for work is no other than famous Jameis Winston, after being ran out of town by Tom Brady in Tampa. Former first overall pick is off a 5,033 touchdown, 30 interception season, but hasn't received much in the way of starting job offers. So let's go ahead and start with Cam. Drink. What team do you see Cam playing for in 2020?
Woo! I'm gonna need a sip of my drink for this one. Hold on. All right. Here's the deal. First of all, we got to get a health report on Cam Newton. That's first and foremost. That's why I think a lot of buyers are not in his market right now because we don't even know how healthy. We don't know what we're going to get back out of Cam Newton. So, we got to play it by ear. But let's say tomorrow they say he's all clear, good to go, ready to resume. Well, forgot about the coronavirus, but you know what I mean. Let's get this ball rolling. So the top three teams I see out here, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Patriots, those are teams that kind of in the market looking for somebody. And yes, I do know the Chargers said Tyrod Taylor is going to take them in the future, but let's be serious here. We're talking about a team that
said they were keeping Cam, so
yeah. Well, we knew that was garbage.
Well, this is the lie season, so we know every franchise is going to lie about something. You know what I mean? We just got to find out what it is. Whether it's free agency, draft pick, something, they're going to lie about something. But here's the deal. I do think that it's a high possibility that he do go to the Chargers. Let me tell you why. We just talked about all the guys that left the Chargers. My biggest thing with the Chargers is this. They need to sell tickets. And Tyrod Taylor ain't selling you no tickets. I'm sorry to tell you. He ain't selling you no tickets. Now, you did a good thing by going out there and getting the previously mentioned Darius Slay for your defense. That's good to go. You made the defense better. We like that. But
you mean Chris Harris, right?
Oh, sorry, Chris Harris. They got me. Anyway, so you need somebody that's on the offense since for some reason you couldn't get Tom Brady. I don't know why you let Tom Brady go to Tampa Bay. You couldn't bring him in. That would have been a solidified ticket seller for you. Probably would have sold the game out for you. The next best thing I think that's out there now is Cam Newton. He was once the guy. He was an MVP. I don't get carried away with Cam Newton, though, because Cam Newton only had one good season. You take that one season out of the rest of his career, he was average, mediocre at best. People like to hype up Cam Newton because of that MVP season. Take that MVP season out and give me them numbers. Holler at your boy on them numbers. He ain't as spectacular as people like to make him look. With that said, though, I do think he can compel the Chargers up a little bit to making them more interesting as a team because he does bring you elements that, let's say, the Chargers ain't had in quite a while because Phillip Rivers wasn't running anywhere. So you get the dual threat. You get this big old quarterback that's about the size of most linebackers. You get them back there. Now you're saying, hey, Austin, I know you can't see over me, but I need you to move over to the side a little bit so you can see what's going on. Need you to read your block assignments. And now you got you a little something going on in the backfield. He's used to throwing a taller quarterback, so he'll benefit Mike Williams very, very well over there when throwing it down the field to a taller quarterback. And then he got Keenan Allen. I think the pieces with Hunter Henry, the pieces could be good. That's a place I see him going, but I'd have been wrong about all these dudes. I thought Phillip Rivers was going to be on the couch. I thought Tom Brady was going to go to the Chargers. So, I'm just going to throw that out there that I've been missing left and right. I'm like that field goal kick in the XFL. Just come talk to me when I'm wrong. So, I don't know, man. That's my pick. I'm going to go with Cam Newton. But until I hear a health report, I'm not even sold on him going anywhere, to be honest with you. So, yeah, that's how I look at that.
Yeah, the health is obviously the wild card in all this. And, again, is seeing how we talked about, the Matt Rule comments about Cam Newton, weeks ago, a month ago or so. And I think we all saw right through those. So it's safe to say we got to take any word that we get from the Panthers in regards to Cam Newton, with a grain of salt. But when you look at the landscape of the NFL, it really only appears that there are two teams right now with like legitimate quarterback openings, and that would be the Chargers and the Patriots. So I think those are two great places to start. And I'm on the other end of this one. I like the Patriots here, and the reason why is I'm looking at a guy, Bill Belichick. I just can't foresee any scenario on earth to where Jarrett Stidham is taking snaps week 1. I got to believe Bill Belichick is going to do something. And, I mean, the Patriots ain't one of these teams picking high in the first round ever. So it ain't going to come from the draft, at least not, those high-profile, surefire dudes, or so we think. It's not going to be Burrow. It's not going to be your Burrows or your Tuas. So that's going to cut down on some of your options. And it's going to be a little bit more risky. But I'm looking at Cam Newton. I think that would be really tempting if I'm Bill Belichick. I mean, you mentioned, a lot of Cam Newton, the hype that comes around him and the allure is primarily due to one season. But that one season was absolutely outstanding, and within one game of being Super Bowl champions. And we can't forget, before the injury in 2018, he was having a very good season. He was completing a career high in passes, about 68%, 24 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. And one of the things I've said with Cam Newton, as he ages, one of the things I was looking at was his ability to throw the football more consistently from the pocket. Because as he ages, and you just add up all the hits he's taken in his career, you got to believe that all that great athleticism and his ability to run the football in between the tackles, that's one of those things you'd like to see him cut down on those attempts and do more of his work from the pocket. That's what I saw in 2018. Now, it's a big if, but if we can notice he's healthy and pending health, I gotta believe this is something Bill Belichick would be interested in, because you know what the narrative is. It's a two-way narrative. Who can have success without the other? Can Bill get it done without TB12, or can TB12 get it done without Bill? That's what we all waiting to see. And I think Bill's got a lot of pride up there, but how hard do you want to make it? Do you really want to? Do you have such a big chip on your shoulder that you're gonna be like, yeah, boy, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna put Stidham out there, and y'all gonna get the business with this 4th round pick that y'all thought couldn't do nothing. I don't know if he wants to make it that hard. Give me somebody proven. Give me somebody that's got like legitimate NFL accomplishments, and we'll see what you can do with him. Because we know, look, the only thing that's changed is Tom Brady ain't there. You still got Bill Belichick. Josh McDaniels is still as much as we not sold on him as a head coach, as an offensive coordinator. I think there's a lot to like up there. So with all those things in mind, I like Cam Newton being a Patriot. I don't know if I see it happening, but that's what I would do if I was a Patriots.
Hold on, Cody. Let me get a little pushback. So you telling me now that Bill Belichick wants this Cam Newton ego to come up there, Mr. I worry about my wardrobe more than what the game plan of Sunday's, next opponent. He wants that on his team. I don't think so. I don't think Bill he ready for all that.
And that's why I said I don't know if it happens, because there may be an issue of fit. Cam Newton may not fit the Patriot way. But all those wardrobe things and like post-game press conference, don't you think that's a little overblown? Like, I don't see that as such a big issue. I don't see it as a Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry can't figure out what shoes they want to wear, and it's like actually a big deal. I mean, Cam Newton coming out there in the press conference looking like one of them, old women going to church or whatever. It's just more of a joke to me. I don't see it as a legit big deal, but that is
I think he spends a lot of time on that, though. I do think he spends more time than the average player, working out here looking like a supervillain or something. Like I don't think Bill is gonna have the patience to deal with that, because he wants you in the book. He wants you in the game plan, and you sitting there like, I don't care what you're gonna wear to the game, man. I don't care about your hair. Don't come with that lethargic attitude. because Cam Newton emotions is like a roller coaster. When they win, he's good. When they lose, he's I don't feel like playing this game. This game ain't fun no more. Blah blah blah. And I just don't see Bill saying, okay, yeah, I like this. I want to deal with that. You know what I mean?
That's a dangerous argument though, because we know if there's anybody that takes some risk on some dudes, it's the New England Patriots. We've seen it. So
that's a fact.
So I mean, we just talked about it Wednesday. Good old Bill O'Brien was bringing one of the most notorious of them all, and hey, Bill brought him in. So hey, I agree. Hey, in the end, I do agree with you. It may not be a good fit as far as Bill is concerned, but it is the best option that's available. And we have seen guys come in and embody that Patriot way, fit right in. And I think Cam Newton is capable of doing that. The only question I got is his health.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I can't believe there's not more of a market for him. I mean, Drink, you are right. Outside of that 1 year, the stats they're not amazing. You get about 3,500 yards out of him. You get about 25 touchdowns or so, and you get about 13, 15 picks. I mean, it's not, but it's consistent. That's what I like about it is what you're getting every year. I mean, this guy was consistent. He was really solid when it came to start. He hardly missed games. I mean, if he did, it was a game or two here and there. The dude was durable. He put up good numbers, and that's surprising considering the brand of football he plays. And I don't know, it just feels like the league has almost moved on from him. I know how like quarterbacks get this flavor of the month or the year of, this year it's sell your stock on pocket passes. We're buying Lamar Jackson, and then next year it's going to be we're selling Lamar Jackson. We're buying this. Like it seems like we get so caught up in the narrative of it. But it does feel like no one's really interested in him and that kind of play style. But yeah, I mean, this last season, he really was making some changes to his game. He was completing more of his passes. And I agree. I think the Patriots are a fit that just makes sense. Because at this point, we're all going, what are they going to do? I mean, dudes are getting signed, they're moving, and then it's just radio silence up there in New England, and it's like, what are we, like, I agree. I just, there's no way I can see them trotting out Jared freaking Stidham week 1. And I also don't believe the Chargers are going to start Tyrod Taylor week 1 without a riot or having some other plan on their hands. I just don't like all 10 fans in that soccer stadium be rioting. But they had the new one now. But maybe there's more fans. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, Cam, he brings a star power to the Chargers, in their endeavors, or he's a guy that New England can bring in as a really solid guy they can improve on. And so either one makes some sense. I want to get y'all's thoughts on Jameis Winston, too, real quick. Start with you, Jay. You think, Mr. 30 for 30 is going to start in 2020, or is he going to be backup?
Hey, just one point to add on what you said about Cam Newton and his passing statistics. The thing that elevated him and made up for the lack of gaudy passing statistics was his rushing numbers. That's what kind of evened things out. Because when you took that in consideration, that made it a whole lot better. Because Phillip Rivers could throw for 3,500, 4,000 yards.
But you just said you don't want that from him no more, though. You don't want him running the ball as much no more. So if he don't run the ball that much, but he don't throw a good amount of yards, like what are you really getting?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying in years past. But remember what I said about the 2018 season when his completion percentage was, about 10 percentage points higher than his career average. That's what we need to see going forward with the rushing attempts down. I agree. You want more consistency from him from the pocket and fewer rushing attempts so he's not putting himself in harm's way more often. I was just making the point. In years past, the passing statistics weren't all that great, but the rushing attempts and all the rushing yards and the touchdowns he did from that kind of even things out. So, but hey, with Jameis Winston, I said there's only 2 spots available or so, I think. And I got Cam Newton going to the Patriots. So yeah, I got Jameis Winston going out to the Chargers in a starting role. That's because that's really the only starting role I see available. So hey, and to go to your point where we're talking about selling tickets in the new stadium. I mean, he won't sell as many tickets as Cam Newton, but he gonna sell tickets because it's gonna be an adventure coming to a stadium near you when everybody get out of the daggone quarantine and they actually fill up the stadium for once. So hey,
yeah.
Cam, Jameis come out there and pull a 30 for 30, or hopefully we can cut the interceptions down. Go down to about 20 or so, and that's still terrible, but we can live with that. We can stomach that a little bit more. I mean, Phillip Rivers threw 20 picks last year, and he over there in Indianapolis. They believe he can handle it. But yeah, I mean, it go back to what you saying, Cody. I mean, Tyrod Taylor, he's a nice player, but we know there's a ceiling, and it's not that far above my head. They ain't going nowhere with Tyrod Taylor. You really gonna trot Tyrod Taylor out there twice a year and let Patrick Mahomes just rickroll you? Is that really what you're gonna do? And I'm telling you, Anthony Lynn, I'm not sold. I'm not sold on Anthony Lynn as a head coach. I got about one playoff appearance, I think it is, in 3 seasons. I'm gonna need a little bit more, and there's got to be some amount of pressure to get something done and be better than you were last year. Because last year was an absolute train wreck. It was horrible. And I will say this about the Chargers. We got to remember this. We talked about the Panthers getting Teddy Bridgewater, and I've got them out of taking a quarterback in the first round with that in mind. The Chargers are picking 6th. They could have an opportunity to trade up and get Tua if they want to jump the Dolphins. Or they can get somebody else. They can get a Justin Herbert. They can get a Jordan Love. They can do one of these things. They are not stuck with Tyrod Taylor, and that whole narrative that they're moving forward with him is a joke, because we know the Chargers have a lot of talent. We talked about what they've done on the defensive side of the ball, and the skill position guys, when you consider Hunter Henry, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, there's a lot of weapons and a lot of talent on that roster, and you're absolutely wasting it if you stick with Tyrod Taylor. I would take Jameis Winston over Tyrod Taylor. Would y'all not?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I would.
But
I would.
that's the only position. That's the only team right now I can see him starting at. That's the only opportunity I see out there. Anything else would have to be in a backup role.
Nah, I'm gonna go ahead and flip the script on this one. I think Jameis Winston meets the criteria with the Patriots a lot more than he meets, because he's not a runner. And listen. Here's the deal. Josh McDaniel, you just said it. We don't care for the guy as a head coach, but the guy gets the job done as offensive coordinator. I think that team will bring some much required discipline. That team will bring a better structure that he had up to this point. You got to understand, he's been in Tampa Bay with a revolving door of coaches, a culture of losing. I want to say Bruce Arians is by far probably the best coach he had as far as the offensive mind go, right? And then Byron Leftwich, that connection. Well, I think he goes up to New England. He links up with Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels hit him with a little sauce, sprinkling him with a little this, a little that. You can do this, you can do that. This will make you better. My only problem is he don't have weapons if he goes to New England. And that's one thing you have to look at. But I do think he can be a better quarterback, or overall quarterback, if he goes to New England, because they're going to give him the tangibles that we don't think about until it's too late, like Baker Mayfield, for example. We didn't think about his lack of leadership or his immaturity all that much, because we seen the way he finished the season before, and we just figured all this talent and the way he finished the season, oh, man, I mean, Freddie Kitchens is unproven, but, man, with all this talent, why do you need that? And then we seen it front page that we like, man, what's wrong with Baker Mayfield? Why are you doing all this? He talking too much. Why he saying all this? Why are you doing it? His lack of maturity came forefront. His lack of decision making forefront. And then what majority of media started saying then was they need a grown up. They need an adult. Now Kevin Stefanski in there, we're gonna see if he's the guy to make it happen. But that matters. And when you have a young, immature quarterback, listen, Jameis Winston is known more for what he did off the field than what he did on the field. Let's just be serious. Let's call it what we call it. If you want to talk about all the crap he pulled in college, then you want to talk about the whole Uber driver incident while he was suspended for like the first 4 to 6 games a season ago. Like, the guy, his maturity is not where it needs to be. You need a coach to rein him in. He has the ability. He has the talent. You just need somebody to mold him and say, listen, young fella, if you want to be better, if you really want to get through in this game, you got to sit your butt down and listen. You got to take this a little more serious. You ain't coming here with that bull crap. And I think New England is the franchise for him. The Chargers, no. They're too worried about why in the world did we even leave San Diego? That's what the Chargers doing right now. Why in the world people not even coming to our game? So you don't want to take them to that little cluster. You want to bring them over to New England, put them in the system, and see what you can make out of them.
That's a lot of the red flag maturity issues with Jameis Winston. That's a lot of baggage for Bill Belichick to handle. And I would argue he's got more baggage and much more poor decision making than Cam Newton does.
But James Winston ain't never been an MVP. James Winston wasn't I'm talking about Cam Newton was once like considered the face of the NFL, like at a short period of time because his size and what he did and how he was so big and he was running over people. And like I said, he didn't play in the Super Bowl. James Winston haven't even played in a playoff game, less known a Super Bowl. So I'm thinking it's more realistic to sit him down and say, hey, if you want more out of your career, do this. Whereas if Cam Newton, it could be like, I done made it. Like, I played in Super Bowl. What you gonna tell me? I ain't played in the highest game. I ain't played under pressure. Oh, you gonna tell me I ain't played good enough to be an MVP? Oh, I've been that too. So that's what I mean about the ego and as far as like the different dynamics you would deal with Cam Newton rather than Jameis Winston.
All you gotta do is ask him, hey, did you win though? The answer you didn't.
True.
Win, so
Jameis Winston ain't got nothing. He ain't got
You should have dove on the fumble, Cam.
Yeah, they still would have lost.
Yeah, y'all gotta leave my man Jameis alone. He's doing his best. All right. No, I watched the guy at Florida State, and I can't believe at this point he hasn't cleaned this up. And like the thing is, like with the quarterbacks, what are 90% of quarterbacks that don't make it? They're just average, right? They go out there and do average stuff. They get thrown on a scrap heap with 5, 10, 15 other dudes. You could just take it, interchange, right? No, you don't throw for 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns without doing something right. I mean, you just don't. I mean, he's done this season after season. He's put up these gaudy numbers, but the interceptions are they're horrible. And I have to think, like, there's got to be something you can reclaim here, right? This isn't something you don't give up on 5,033, even if 30 is also really bad. There's got to be something here. And yeah, Brady and or Bill and McDaniels really seem like the best. I mean, if they can't get it out of you, then, well, I guess this is just what you are, whatever, right? But I don't think that Bill Belichick is going to go down that road. It makes sense until you kind of, but then when you think about it in real world, like I don't see the Patriots going after that and bringing that in and kind of like putting their eggs in that basket per se. I think Winston's going to have to – I think he's going to take a backup job. I think Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense. I think you go behind Big Ben if he gets hurt again, because they know all the clowns they got there aren't worth much. Maybe even for the right price, New Orleans wants him as a backup to replace Bridgewater. Jacksonville could be not completely sold on Gardner Minshew and need a backup now. I mean, there's a couple backup roles that would make some sense like he could potentially get back into starting with. But, yeah, at this point in time, I think that there's got to be a coach that can unlock something with him that hasn't been done yet. And it could just be work ethic. He could just be a guy that doesn't take it serious and whatever. But it's a shame because there's so much talent in him. And to see him just throwing it to whoever's open, no matter what jersey they're wearing, it sucks because he has the talent to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He just doesn't put it together. That's a shame.